If you're wondering how your Jewish friends are doing, they're not doing well. Before October 7th, I believed that one could plausibly oppose Israel and not be anti-Semitic. I think that it takes a tremendous sophistication to be able to hold those two views simultaneously. And most of the loud protesters on the street do not have that sophistication. We want to be careful that we don't only define our Jewishness based upon the Holocaust, but the reality is it is so omnipresent. If someone says to me, what do you believe is one of the root causes of anti-Semitism? Two words: disproportionate success. I mean, maybe it's my kind of internalized insecurity. What you're saying makes me nervous. You guys got me thinking. I mean, good for you.
The Jew saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always was. All things are mortal but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality?
Seth, welcome to the Jew Function.
Hi, Leo. I can't wait till we're out of a job. Or at least we could change the nature of what we're doing. How you doing?
I thought we're not going to ask each other how we're doing.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Ever, but
I hate that question.
No, but I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's Israel is kind of gotten into this rhythm, I think, being punched from within, punched from without, and then you have this little tiny piece that you live on. It's like those games. I don't know if it's like Star Wars, the walls are closing in, or it's like those games where like you're on a raft and sharks keeps biting off the raft. Yeah.
On 9/11, I went uptown a couple hours after it happened, and or within maybe 2 hours after it happened, and people were still sitting outside on the street, like in the cafe, as if, like just it didn't hit everyone yet. Right. So downtown was like one crazy world, and uptown people are sitting there like at the coffee shop, and I like broken. I couldn't fit these two things together. Like when I got off the bus up there, like I just took a bus uptown, and like when I got off the bus somewhere in the 70s, you see people, you're just like, wait, what? How? What? And I imagine, because I talk to you, I talk to other friends living there. You guys are going about your lives somewhat. At the same time, it's like an insane, literally an insane situation. That
we have a saying in Hebrew, "Olam kiminago noeg," right? Like the world keeps on turning. Right? There's just it's unfathomable. I think anyone who's experienced loss will tell you that this is something that's hard to grapple. Like, oh, what, you're not feeling what I'm feeling, right? You expect immediately for everyone to identify with your pain, with your suffering, with everything you're going through. And I think it's kind of the same for us, Jews, I think. And it's not just with October 7th. I think there's a general sense that people should understand us, right? Like, it's kind of like, we deserve this. We should be treated like that. People should understand us. People should ask the right questions. And it's a general, I think,
or at least be a little less misunderstood. Even if they don't understand everything, why are they always judging us exactly opposite from what we're asking?
Exactly. There's that too. But in general, I think there's expectation for the others to relate to you differently, and we see this kind of a tendency also creeping up in with the younger generation, identity politics, right? Like, I see myself as this, you treat me like this, and people like, I don't want to play your game. And but in a way, we as a people, we're also sort of have that expectation. We're constantly asking the others to treat us a certain way. Why? Because maybe we feel a sense of entitlement, because we're the eternal victims, maybe because we truly deserve it. We've done so many great things for humanity. How, why don't you call more often, right? That kind of. So I think that it's
didn't we fix your brain tumor? Why did you plot a terrorist attack on us? Exactly. I thought we saved your life.
Exactly. So, like a good Jewish mother, right? I carried you.
We saved your life. Why are you plotting to kill us?
Yeah, I carried you in my belly for 9 months. That I gave birth for 30 hours, and I can't even show up for Passover. But yeah, I think this tension between what's happening and our feelings, it's very clear. People are walking like this. People all over, in Israel, on X. Out in the world. I'm talking to people all over the world. We're going to have a reverend from the UK next week coming to our show. She's a fantastic woman. But everybody has this dissonance, right, between what is happening, what should happen, how I see myself, how people should see me, and it kind of brings it back to us. Okay, we can't control this craziness, but what can we do? How much can we actually affect what's in our hands? And it's great that we have today a guest that is also, he has this very broad perspective because of his job, because he works for JLTV. He's had a chance to travel the world, talk to people, talk to Jews, find maybe commonalities, find differences, kind of get a broader perspective on humanity. And I think it'd be interesting, and I'm excited to have this person. He's a 3 times Emmy nominee. He's a television host of the award-winning program Air, Land, and Sea, broadcasting weekly on Jewish Live Television, and he also hosts J Report. And he jumped in. Okay, you didn't even wait for the applause.
I'm here.
You didn't wait for the applause track. Okay,
I
so
apologize.
Screw that. I'm not reading the rest of the bio. No,
you don't need to. It's fine. You don't need to. My grandmother already knows.
Yeah, I was just trying to make a point that you've been around, you talk to people.
Yes.
And so we really happy to have you here and kind of tap that quality in you.
Right.
And I think we want to start with maybe a question that's kind of like really out of off to the side somewhere, but since you have traveled the world and you have met different Jews in different settings and different places, can you maybe tell us, is there something that unites all these different colors, flavors of Jews? It might help us with our quest, because we're also, I'll ask a follow-up question later. But
yeah. I mean,
even before, hold on,
please.
Brad, one sec. Just to intro into that, just tell us like what you did. Like, I go to this place and did this.
Yeah,
right.
So people know who you are.
Yeah, so I host a television show that's called Air, Land, and Sea. And we truly travel around the world and we visit different countries. We've been to 15 countries, 40 different episodes, and we do long form travel logs, I'll call them, documentaries, if you want to call them, about the Jewish history of the locations, but also the general history. And it's really quite a terrific journey and treat for me. I'm a history nerd. And so there is no doubt that a Jew from Jersey or a Jew from Los Angeles will feel a connection with a Jew from Essaouira in Morocco or Valletta in Malta or even in Taipei in Taiwan. There is that, there's just something there that we're like, landsman, or a member of the tribe. You can feel it.
What is it? Can you put it in words?
I can. I think it's a shared experience. I think that, in many ways, the Jews in the diaspora have been very blessed, but yet do face challenges. And I think diasporic challenges are very similar, whether you're in the United States or you're in the Czech Republic or you're in Barbados. I think they are similar blessings and similar challenges. And I think those challenges have become even more apparent since October 7th, which, by the way, I was in Poland on October 7th. And so that was quite stunning to be in Poland
Were
on
you
October
in
7th,
Auschwitz doing
on
the whole?
October 9th.
Oh, you're
I
so
was in
you're
Auschwitz on October 9th. Yeah, I was in Krakow on October 7th, Auschwitz October 9th. And it was, candidly, I don't think any of us really knew what was happening. October 7th, 8th, a little bit on the 9th. But I will tell you this, on the night of October 7th, the bridge in Krakow was lit up blue and white, and that was very moving. I am very Polish, as most Ashkenazi Jews are. And so it was very soothing to see that, in the land where 90% of our people lost their lives. Many of us are from that kind of Krakow, Galicia region. And so it was very, very moving.
and I'm curious because you
Yeah,
immediately went to to the tragedy. That was that was an easy point. Oh, here we're united there, right? That's who we
sure.
are. But we're always challenging our guests to tell us, can you put into words a definition or some sort of a set of commonalities or unifying principles that are not tied to a tragedy? That's is there a
It's a
definition?
great question because, look, being a Jewish American and someone who works at Jewish Life Television, we want to be careful that we don't only define our Jewishness based upon the Holocaust. But the reality is, it is so omnipresent. It is just so. Now, that may be different for my children, for example. But, if you're
Because
in
the
your
schools don't
fourth,
teach it.
well, I'm in California, so fortunately they do, but many states don't. But, I'm in my 50s. And so as a result, the Holocaust was just very present growing up. Um, in Hebrew school, it was there. I mean, in the 70s, Holocaust survivors are marching in and out. People have numbers on their arms. We're
Right.
not seeing that as much today. Um, I think October 7th is undoubtedly unifying for the vast majority of Jewish Americans, despite what happened at the Oscars the other day, which we can talk about if you'd like. Um,
Yeah.
but I do, if I make, I do want to say this, if I
Yeah.
may,
Yeah.
because
Sure. You may.
yeah. So, I've through my show Airland and Sea, I've covered many countries in what I'll call Christian Europe, and also covered many countries in what I'll call the Muslim world, specifically Morocco and Turkey. And these were trips before October 7th. And I actually was quite bullish on Muslim Jewish relations before October 7th for the following reasons. When I was in these Muslim countries, they're spending millions of dollars to revitalize Jewish institutions, historical sites. And I would interview these government officials, non-Jews, and I would say, why are you spending this money? Millions of dollars. There are no Jews here, really. And they all didn't. They're like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't we? It's our history. Our history. Jewish history in Morocco and Turkey is our history. When you go to Christian Europe, you don't hear that. It's Jewish history. It was so palpable to me, that there's that I don't know. I hope it hasn't changed since October 7th, but that's what I felt.
Well, it probably some of it probably has,
Yeah,
maybe not permanently, but definitely. But I will just say as a side note, I don't know if if we can talk more about it, but as a
yeah,
side note that the whole relationship to Jews and to the religion and to the culture and the whole lifestyle is really markedly different in these countries, the North African countries,
right.
the Eastern countries, the Sephardic, as we like to call
Sure,
them.
of course,
Even
Sephardic
though the
lands.
Sephardics are
Yeah,
actually the Ashkenazi Jews, most of them, but
right.
uh,
Yeah,
but but well, some of them migrated to Turkey as well. But so it's very different. It's a different relationship. The humanity is really different. It's conducted differently.
And
Whereas the
remember, I mean, if I may, in 1498, Sultan Bayezid II sent an armada of ships to Spain and picked up 150,000 Jews.
course,
And this famous quote of like, the king and queen of Spain, it's their loss. Look
yeah,
who I get.
of course.
And
We talk we,
so,
we talk
yeah.
about it all. We talk about it all the time. We identified exactly these historic patterns all throughout history, not just of this external relationship where Jews were almost moved around like precious enzymes, accelerators, if you will, right? Fertilizers. You put them in the King of Poland, right? Like,
Oh,
hey,
exactly.
yeah, I know you're Polish.
But my people.
But your people, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's bring
our
some
people, I
Jews.
bet.
Let's bring
Yeah.
some Jews to get this country started. Sure enough, industrialized started, and then okay, goodbye. We'll take it from here. That pattern is repeating. So people recognize the quality of Jews as these accelerators of what
And
we could talk about, but
and
accelerators.
I think, if I may say, that in some ways those are some of the seeds of anti-Semitism.
That's a question.
Yeah,
That that
that
that's
is I mean, I've really thought about it. And if someone says to me, what do you believe is one of the root causes of anti-Semitism? Two words: disproportionate success.
Okay,
We're,
so hold on.
yeah.
The only part that I want to, or the part that I would like to,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at something under 10 times, and then if you look at something under
Mm-hmm.
100 times, it changes. So you said the root. So let's get to the root. Okay. You said disproportionate success. So I would say that's almost a result, because why do these people have disproportionate success? So let's go,
I'll tell you.
let's go a little deeper.
So, I'm not a PhD in history, but I play one on
neither
TV.
are we. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're at home. It's all good.
So let's talk about this. For centuries, Christendom did not encourage or even allow their flock to read. Jews had to read. And as a result, we became educated. And as a result, when education kind of took off, formal education, who were the professors? They were Jews, because they had this history of reading and education. You want to talk about, Jews and finance? Well, there's a reason for that. Jews were not allowed to own land. All they could do is deal with dirty money. That was the job they were allowed to have in Christian Europe. So they became bankers and lenders. I mean, so much of the reasons Jews are so vilified was imposed on us. We had to be in the learned professions because that's all we were allowed to do. And so when the learned professions became the engines of the economy, we were ready to go. We
But
were prepared.
Brad, the counter argument to that, of course, this is
Yeah. This is all fun. Friends. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a well-known
Yeah.
argument, and it's a good one for a while, by the way, because
Mm-hmm.
Jewish hatred started way before, but it's at least in the
Part of it.
recent
Part of
history,
it.
modern history, it's good. Let's not even get into the new anti-Semitism yet, but just on that,
Mm.
the counter argument is that, well, Jews also use that influence to bring a lot of good to the world around them, developing, as you said, economies, developing societies, bringing amazing values and morals and ethics, bringing new technology, new ideas. One would argue that, hey, okay, there's a little bit
But
of
then there's disproportionate success. But then that comes back to when Germany is 1% Jewish in 1939,
right.
and yet, they're what, 25% of the lawyers, 25% of the bankers, 40% of the
Here's a
professors,
question.
you
If
know.
you're is it possible? Is there another scenario where you can be 1% of the population, but because of what you're doing, everyone loves you instead of being 1% of the population and everyone hates you? Is
I
that
just feel
possible?
like I have we seen it in history? I haven't seen it.
What would be the
No.
conditions? What would be the conditions where you could be a tiny percent of the population and everybody would love you?
I don't think they. I just I
Because
think
because if
sadly,
Uh,
if
yeah.
if that's impossible, so then we're screwed. I mean, we should just set up shop on
should,
somewhere because we're
Well,
never going to be big. We're
we
always
just
going to
have
be
to live our lives. I mean, look, I hear you.
hold on, hold
Yeah.
on. Before we go into
Spiegler. I want to hear what he's got to say about this.
no, I know, no.
No,
We will
please.
hear him, but
Yeah.
I want to add to that
First, a word
spice.
from our sponsors.
No, not yet, not yet. If, even in your body, most of the body, right? Most of it is flesh. 90% of it is flesh. Not the smartest
Mm.
flesh. It just goes along with the body. You really have just one. Even in the whole brain, there's really a dot that kind of like a microchip that really does all the controlling, and you don't see the body turning against any parts of itself. Why with
Unless it's
humanity?
sick.
Unless it's sick,
Mhm.
very sick. So the question is, so as you answer, think about that. Like why can't humanity be more like the human body?
Jealousy.
Jealousy, good.
Jealousy. I mean, it really comes down to jealousy. And why not me? Why do those,
But
Jews,
why not
why
everyone? Why not everyone? Why should the Jews keep all of the great stuff for themselves? Why, if the Jews have the ability, why not um, lift the whole world up with them?
Well, look, I think some countries do take that position. I think the United States at a certain level. I mean, look, in the history of diasporic life, there's been no country that's been as welcoming to its Jewish population than the United States of America. It's simply undeniable. I mean, obviously, Charlottesville, Pittsburgh, Poway, horrible incidents. What we've seen since October 7th, horrible. But we still are incredibly lucky to be Jews living in America. And while, there are crazies on the far left and the far right that are virulently anti-Semitic, I think it's fair to say that mainstream Democrats and mainstream Republicans, generally speaking, are supportive of Jewish participation in the United States of America. And
To remind you, by the way, that how
mhm.
many years have Jews been part of America en masse? I'm not talking about the
Well,
Jewish
they started
seeds,
coming in 1880. I mean, they started
right?
coming in 1880.
Right. So about 100,
Yeah,
130, 40
yeah,
years, right?
yeah,
They were way longer than that in Spain, and look how that
right.
ended. They were way longer than that in the
Eastern
Russian and
Europe.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Different conditions,
Well,
granted, but
but
they lived there. They were
yeah.
part of the population, right?
Well, but it's all, I mean, look, fundamentally, the Holocaust and even the Inquisitions in Spain and Portugal, I think fundamentally you just can't ignore the power of deicide. The concept that the Jews killed Jesus. The Holocaust, of course, the church taught for 2,000 years, 1,700 years, the Jews killed Jesus. Are we surprised that after 1,700 years of those teachings, ultimately Christian Europe, decided to slaughter the people they perceived to be the murderers? I mean, my uncle in the 1950s, so this is before Vatican II, when the church said, don't blame the Jews for the death of Jesus. He's like in like Whitestone, New York. I mean, you know where that is, Seth. Like literally like up the road from Seth's house. And my aunt hears him screaming. And some kids on like it's Sunday at like 3 o'clock are like hoisting them up on a cross. You know, my aunt starts screaming, "Why are you doing that?" "Oh, the priest said the Jews killed Jesus, so we're gonna kill him." I mean, like that's gonna happen. Like, are we surprised?
No,
You
no,
know,
no. We're definitely not. We're not
I mean,
surprised. We're concerned. The question is, I wanna, I wanna go even
please.
deeper into the emotion because, and I think it's kind of they're all these points are connected. in your on X, you still have a pinned tweet from the December 30th of last year.
Mhm.
And you say, nothing could have prepared me for the world's abandonment of Israel and the Jewish people after Hamas committed the most unspeakable horrors on October 7th. Why are the contextualizers and deniers given any credence whatsoever? My worldview has been irrevocably changed. So I want to ask you, first of all, on the one hand, you sound like, oh, I get it. I get what's going on here. On the other hand, your worldview has changed. Can you
Yeah, I'll
tell me
tell you
what has
how.
changed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before October 7th, I believed that one could plausibly oppose Israel and not be anti-Semitic. I think that is now becoming increasingly difficult to defend. I am not saying there are not people out there that oppose Israel and are not anti-Semitic, but they are far and few between. I think that it takes a tremendous sophistication to be able to hold those two views simultaneously. And most of the loud protesters on the street do not have that sophistication.
You know,
If they
I'm sorry.
did, yeah, they would not be protesting in front of a synagogue in Philadelphia, in front of a Jewish-owned business in Poughkeepsie, in front of a Holocaust museum in DC, in front of a Jewish hospital in Montreal. Those four institutions have nothing to do with what's going on in Israel.
I don't think anyone else is doing what we're doing. And yeah, and that's exactly it. Nobody can comprehend what we're talking about. Who would even say that anti-Semites have anything valuable to say without saying we're anti-Semitic or we're self-hating Jews? But there's something that everybody's missing in this whole picture. And the reason why the solution is so close is because we're not waiting for anyone else to change. We're not waiting for the laws to be enacted. We're not waiting for a new politician to get elected. The answer is way closer than everybody thinks.
Like us, hit the bell thing on the YouTube so you can get a notification when a new episode is up. Well, this is the Jew Function, and let's get back to our guest.
Yes, we're Jews, but Israel's a sovereign nation. You cannot blame Jews in Montreal for what Israel is doing. You cannot.
There was a book that came out I think it was during the George W. Bush presidency. It's like, I think it was called "What's the Matter with Kansas" or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the point there was like, why are people voting? This is not a political take, just the concept I want to get here. It's like, why, why would people vote against their best interest? Like, can't you just be presented with facts and then
Make a rational decision.
like, yeah, shouldn't that be enough? Like, here's the facts and then make a decision. And one of the most revelatory things about the October 7th situation, and there's many of them, is that we're in a situation where it's like, it just again and again, you can't wrap it. It's like, how can they come in and like rape our women and now we're defending ourselves? Or how can we be attacked and we're being like, when the US is responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan, that there's no response, over the last 2 decades. There's no response like we see around what's going on around Israel. So the place that I'm at right now is we've come to a point where nothing makes sense. I think that's like
Upside down world.
Yeah, that's a new
We're an upside down
level.
world.
That's the name of
for
my
humanity.
personal Twitter account, by the way. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I need to follow you guys.
I think this is the new level of humanity that
I
we
mean,
reached.
Israel has been held to a standard that most nations can't even approach. I will forever be flummoxed on how and why Israel is constantly being expected to be perfect. I mean, Seth, the state of Israel is the size of New Jersey. There are more people in Los Angeles County than there are in Israel, including Israeli Arabs, who I honor. What other country of under 10 million people get as much attention in the world than Israel? What other territory, Gaza, 2 million people, get as much attention as Gaza is? And what's happening there is tragic. I think we all agree. There's no question about what's happening there is tragic. But I just cannot believe the obsession that the world has with a strip of land that is smaller than, I think New Jersey is actually bigger and has a population smaller
Let's
than
try and
LA
understand
County.
why this is, and let's look for an answer that's not in the usual places. And it's not that Leo and I are keeping the answer in our pocket, although we think we do have something close. But let's try and discover together why, okay, fine, so we're smart and we learn to read and this, but this is all Newtonian physics. This is all billiard balls moving on the table. Like our ball happened to be in a good place compared to the other balls, and it was able to hit that ball, and that's just how it is. But when you got me at the beginning when you said the root of it. So I'm not sure that even the billiards table is the root of it. Like I think that there's something, even like it's an eternal people. Like uh
Well,
there's
I've
something that doesn't
heard,
make
I mean, look, the three great Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, derive from Judaism,
Right.
and we
Of
kind of
course.
set up the golden rule and we set up the standard of ethics and the
Right.
standards of morality.
Of course.
And,
or we got it from
probably,
somewhere. Some God
yeah,
gave it to us and
right.
we
But, some people believe that, the world's angry at us for that, that we set the standard
but
so high.
where did we get it
Oh,
from?
wait. Can you repeat that
Yeah.
last line? Why are they angry?
No, because we set the standard so high for kind of ethics and morality. And so,
So,
and
so,
they're,
so we're not letting the world be just a little more bad, right? Just a little naughty, right?
I mean, look, it is so, I'm, guys, we're 15 million people, 0.2% of the world. Name another people that are 0.2% of
You
the
can't.
world
No,
that
it's
get as much
impossible.
There isn't.
attention as us.
No,
I
it's
don't get
impossible.
it.
So we have to figure out why, and if there is some reason, we need to embrace what the hell we are doing here. Because if you took the three of us and put us
Mhm.
on some celestial council, up in heaven sitting on a cloud and just stretched out the timeline of humanity, and we just looked at the timeline of humanity, right? We would not be surprised at what's going on in America at all, because we would watch what happened with the Jews through the timeline of humanity. And it's the same thing. It's
But
there's
look,
The most
you
advanced
said,
society is always the one to turn anti-Semitic
Oh,
and
look,
eventually
here
drive
comes
Jews
here comes
out.
Rome, the Jews. Okay, here comes
yeah,
Greece, the Jews. Here comes
yeah.
Babylon, the Jews. Here comes
Yeah, they
Egypt, the
expel the
Jews.
Jews, right? I mean, look, I don't know why I keep going back to disproportionate success, but let's just use me as an example of kind of an immigrant story.
Sure.
On my father's side, okay, my grandfather, at the height of his career, was a postman. Okay, that was the best job he had. The next generation, his son was a pharmacist. His son forgive me, graduated at the top of his class at a top law school. Two generations. You don't see that in many other immigrant
True.
groups.
True.
That doesn't mean that we're better. I'm not saying that Jews are better or smarter or anything. Um, I'm actually, it's funny. I through my travel show, we're talking to South Korea. South Korea, I didn't know this, is incredibly philo-Semitic.
Yeah, number one
Uh,
learners of
yeah,
Talmud.
I mean, that's what I was about to say. I mean, they have this like strange fixation. It is
Lost
literally, I
tribe.
think, in the top 10. No, it's like the Talmud is in every single Korean bookstore. A
By the
version
way,
of the Talmud.
all the Eastern
Yeah,
countries are like that.
yeah,
They don't treat the Jews with like let's destroy them. It's more like let's
yeah.
learn from them. Let's take what they
Let's
have
learn
and
from
make.
them. Yeah.
I
But
wanna.
then but that turns to like, oh, the Jews think they're special, and like,
So okay. So
yeah.
I wanna read a list here. Okay, from everything we just discussed in the last few minutes. So the world, right, thinks we're too successful or too
Mm.
smart, right, or sees us this way, has this image of us as being too successful, too smart. The world always makes these unbreakable ties between Jews and Israel. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I support. I don't support. I don't care. You to me are an extension of Israel, right? The world makes that. We see that. The world is holding Israel to a higher standard, as we said. The world ignores our relative contribution to the well-being of humanity, technologically, morally, all the rest. Seems to ignore it. Um, the world gives disproportionate attention to what's happening always when Jews are involved, right? Like in Israel and Gaza now and everywhere else. The world ignores jihadi violence, by the way, which has killed, raped, and enslaved millions to this
Oh,
day.
forget it.
But yeah, no, I'm just
Yeah,
I
forget it.
was involved
Yeah.
with the campaign that was just came out. So
Yeah.
I know the numbers, staggering. It's like mind blowing. The world feels we yield on the disproportionate influence on things. The world feels we set the standard maybe too high. So we have all these things. How can we turn all that to, make those assets rather than try to fight those, rather than try to deny those,
So
to
we are the
silence?
most influential. We are the smartest.
Yeah,
We are the
instead of
ones
instead
who
of
are capable.
silencing
So
everyone who
what?
says that, let's say okay, let's say
Stop
this.
saying we're so smart. Stop
Yeah,
saying we're so rich. Stop
yeah.
saying we're in the media.
Let's
Stop
say
saying
we
we're the
are.
banks.
Let's say we are. Let me ask you. You met so many people. What is missing in the world right now that maybe only Jews, us, can bring because we have all these assets? Let's have this mind.
I'm
This
Don't be
skeptical.
shy. If
Yeah.
it's too good, we won't publish this
No, I
episode. But
guess
tell
I
us
get
anyway.
no, 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 no. You can, I mean, maybe it's my kind of internalized insecurity. What you're saying makes me nervous.
of course.
It makes me nervous because, I've seen what people do and say and feel, and I just kind of want to be in a cocoon and, have my relative success without calling too much attention to it.
Exactly. Yep.
Granted.
Maybe that's kind of a form of abuse that we've internalized, you
But
know.
that's not working. Let's just also be brutally honest.
Yeah.
It's not working. The world is not letting us be those little, in our cocoons. But
Cocoons,
let's play
yeah.
this thought experiment like Einstein, our relative, used to do, and think
Well, I think, well,
in a way
look,
that's,
I
out
think
of the
we can
box.
do that to a bit in America. I mean, look, America has allowed us to shine. I mean, we can't ignore. I mean, Seth, I mean, back me up here. Look, it's not perfect, but good grief. Joe Lieberman may have, gone off the deep end.
I
He was
agree, but
almost the vice president of the United States.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
I agree
Chuck
with you. But what
Schumer,
Yeah.
leader of the
but what
Senate.
I see though is that I see that a lot of the Jewish successful people, um, they are lacking fundamental education. I'm talking about retirees who already made it, maybe a little
Uh-huh.
older than us, the generation before us. Um, we're all born in the 70s, right?
Well,
Yeah.
60s, but that's okay.
Okay.
A little older than you.
So
A
I
little
think
older
the
than you.
generation before us who's now,
Mm,
retired, maybe sold their businesses or something. I
mm.
don't see that um, that they have an education of what to do because they were successful accountants, successful dentists, successful business person. Hold on, wait, let me get this out.
Yeah, no.
I see them now just like enjoying retirement in Florida. or traveling here or doing. I don't see
Well,
that
you
they're
know
in
why,
any
Seth.
what
You know that they have been taught just keep your head down. Keep your head down.
Exactly.
I mean,
and keep
they
voting
literally,
against your interests.
well, I don't know what your political persuasion is, so I'm not sure where you're going
I
with
hate all
that.
politicians, but I want to say that there's no good
Uh-huh.
that's not mixed with bad in any situation. I don't think there's a
Uh-huh.
good anything.
No,
But
absolutely.
let's
But
not get
when,
into that yet. It's
yeah,
if even if we have time, it'll be too
yeah,
distracting for what we're trying to do here.
yeah. Um, so I mean, look, when you say voting against your interests, it's complicated. As you know, 77% of folks voted for President, 77% of Jewish Americans voted for President Biden.
Right.
And I don't know that that's going to change much. I mean, I think Jews are very angry at the far left. Um,
Some are very scared as
yeah,
well. We had on our show
as
people who
a
were
well, I
terrified.
am, I am. I mean, and I got to say this, you can look at my Twitter feed. The far left's abandonment of Jews and Jewish Americans in Israel has been crushing for me. I mean, Jews are amongst the first progressives
Of course.
ever.
But I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
Brad,
ever.
you're a history buff. It happened over
But
and
I
over
was part of that. I
when
mean,
Jews.
I marched, with my
That doesn't matter.
aunt,
When Jews left the shtetls and joined the
the
Russians, the liberal
socialists.
Russians, and started the revolution. At the end of it, they were with their backs against the wall. When the women march started here in the U.S., I mean there in the U.S., there was a Jewish woman, a black woman, a Spanish woman, and Linda Sarsour. They were all like, "Yo, kumbaya," and then everybody at the end turned against the Jewish woman. This is a historic pattern that we're failing to see. We always get surprised by it, but
I don't know though. I mean, let me say this. Maybe I'm deluding myself. I think the progressive move, however you want to define it, I think the progressive movement was very accepting of Jews until kind of the 21st century. And I think that part of that is because of the far right swing in Israel. Look, Israel has some own goals. Current leadership in Israel, look, I love Israel, but some of Israel's current leaders have made statements that are troubling, to say the least, and statements that would not play well, in a vacuum. But that doesn't excuse progressive abandonment of us. Look, queers for Palestine. Are you effing kidding me?
of course, it
Like,
makes no
are
sense.
you
It doesn't make sense. It's an upside down world.
kidding me?
We're in a situation where nothing makes sense.
I mean,
So
if you're
we
a queer in Palestine, you're thrown off a building. If you're a queer in Tel Aviv, you get to attend the best pride parade in the world. I mean,
Sure.
literally. I mean, I'm an ally and I look at that pride parade like, I want to go. What a blast. You think there's a pride parade in Rafah? I mean, I
but
just can't believe it.
so where
So
is our we go
yeah,
speak?
no, ask.
So we need it's clear that like let's get all the LGBTQs together and show them what life is like in the 20 something Arab countries around Israel and show them what it's like in Israel. And then they should be supporters of Israel, right?
But
But
I will
what's
say
wrong with
this, Seth.
Kansas?
But
Like what?
I will say this. I do believe that Queers for Palestine, the loud far left, they're just loud. I don't think they hold a
It's
majority
all a
position.
show. But the
Yeah.
problem is that most of Germany was not a Nazi. The
No,
phenomenon of Nazi
no.
Germany was not that there was a bunch of total freaks on the fringe. That what happened in Germany was that most people were normal people that just got swept up in what
Yeah,
happened.
they bought into the movement, right? It was like, okay, it's easier. And that's the scary part, Brad, that things can change kind of overnight. People's perception, people's view, the public opinion is a very, very right. It's like if the head makes a decision, we're making it right. the rest of the body follows. It's a split-second change, and we're going.
And I
Specifically,
believe, actually, it's funny you say that. I believe that what caused what we are seeing right now was the world's misreporting of that very first incident in the hospital, where Israel was blamed for blowing up the hospital
sure.
within 2 weeks. I believe, maybe I'm deluding myself, that if that had not happened, the trajectory of this conflict and the world's perception of it would have been different.
I believe that
Because
no matter what happened, at
Yeah.
some point they would have come after the Jews, no matter what. If it
maybe,
wasn't this, it
maybe,
would have been something
yeah,
else. So
Again,
let's
because history
get to our
shows us
root.
to us. Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
please.
get to the root.
Maybe let's get to the root from the good side for a second. Jew function is really it's a desperate attempt to change something about the rise in anti-Semitism that doesn't seem to go away, and looking at history usually ends with something terrible before we reach relative quiet again. But we don't want to reach something terrible. We want to do it now. So that's why we're doing this podcast. And if you like this, also consider leaving a small contribution on our Patreon channel. Right. We both have day jobs, by the way, so we're not hoping to make money from this. We're hoping to see some change of heart.
Any funds are used to get this out there, to get this to people. We consider this the same way you go out every day to get money to feed your family, put a roof over your head. This is also critically important to our future, to our safety, to a good world, not only for Jews, but for everyone.
Well, this is the Jew function, and let's get back to our guest. Because maybe what we asked earlier. You're looking at the world around you. On the one hand, the potential for good is tremendous. We can see, right? Standard of living, quality of living,
Robot to fold our laundry.
exactly,
Yeah.
access to resources. On the one hand, it's like you're living like kings. Every person is a potential king. On the other hand, terrible, the level of depression and suicide. There's more suicides than homicides. This doesn't make sense. It's insane. So the question is, maybe we can look at what's missing in the world and kind of use our Jewish brain there. Just like Jews intuitively feel what's missing, whether it's in whatever level of human experience, right? From art and to sex to technology to money to social media. There's always a few of us naturally, right, leading the pack when it comes to. So let's ask ourselves, what's missing in the world, and can we use all those things that the world is keep shouting at us to, in our benefit? Can we?
Well, I
not
think
favor it?
for a lot of people, what's missing is hope. And in much of the Arab world and in the far right and far left worlds, they are being told that hope is dashed because the Jews are taking all the success. It's like there's a success pie. There's only so many slices, and the Jews are taking too many slices. And so, look, I know that I have a lot of thoughts about the causes. The solutions I'm not so good on. I don't know. I just, I'm skeptical. October 7th, it was crushing. And people, I tell people I'm involved in interfaith organizations, and I always say if you're wondering how your Jewish friends are doing, they're not doing well.
What does the world need from us?
Oh,
And what can we give to them? The best of what we have.
Yeah, I just think we just keep giving. I mean, keep inventing. I love like the BDS, the anti-BDS posters. Like, okay, you want to boycott Israel? Give back your iPhone. Give back your this medication and that medication.
Yeah.
And I mean, the concept of BDS is outrageous.
Let me ask you. Okay, so let me ask you for a different angle. We'll get to the solution together. What do you love about your Jewishness, your Jewish family, the Jews that you met abroad. What do you love about them? That you always
Yeah,
you
well,
use
I mean,
words.
you
You
know,
said
we're a bit mashuggy, you
okay,
know. I like that we're a bit, you know, we got a little mashugana, which is kind
right?
of a little crazy. You know,
Yeah,
I
good,
like that it's two Jews, three opinions.
good,
You know,
good.
I
And
love
we can
that.
hold it together, though. We can hold it
Yeah,
together for the most
yeah,
part.
two Jews, three opinions. I like that we do value education. We value family. We value kind of camaraderie and each other. Although, interestingly, I do feel like we're afraid to support each other for fear of being accused to be clannish. I've experienced that where, especially in the professional setting, where Jews are afraid to help Jews because they're afraid of being accused of being clannish. Um, I love our resilience, our grit, our humor. Our humor's hilarious. I love Yiddish. I'm glad it's, you know, kind of making a comeback. And nothing makes me happier than when I'm watching a news program. Like I remember I was watching a MSNBC and one of the anchors was talking about Michigan. And she said, there's a lot of Michigas going on in Michigan. I mean, like, and believe me, she's not Jewish, this anchor. I mean, like, what more could you ask for? You know, when you see, and when Anderson Cooper says chutzpah, he doesn't get the huh right, but he says it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
just, you know, I love that Yiddish is, you
Some
know,
not taking ourselves
making
too
it.
seriously, also, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Do you
I
know?
just, yeah,
Do you know that everything you described, so much
uh,
of it, we take for granted as, oh, we're just born into it, like a fish in the sea. You don't see the
mm-hmm,
water, but you swim in it your whole life. You're
yeah,
just you're just enjoying it. You're riding it. It allows you to leave and come back. You come back home after a year. Oh, I'm gay now. Fine, just sit down, have some gefilte fish.
yeah.
Right? It's like this quality does not exist with
Yeah, we know
most
we're
people.
very, I mean, as a general proposition, we're very accepting, very tolerant. Um,
Th- Would it
yeah.
would would it would it be an insane proposition to think that actually, the way we were established as a people by Abraham was exactly pulling people from all over, different clans back in Babylon and sitting down outside the
Hmm.
tent having a meal and like let's learn how to, cover everything with love, and then that the biggest rule in our book of Torah is love your friend as yourself. None of the other little halachas. That's secondary. It's this rule of love. Why is it crazy to think that this is exactly what the world needs and this is exactly what we naturally have? And we maybe can do better at giving
Yeah,
it.
I mean, look, you're right. I don't know if the world's ready to hear us.
We don't
I
have a
just,
choice.
yeah. I mean, look, you guys got me thinking. I mean, you know, good for you. Um, I, you know, I mean, there is a little, I can't lie that sometimes, look, I think I scream Jewish, like a little, you know, but some people don't necessarily know right away. And, you know, sometimes I kind of like it where I don't know, that's like, I don't want to say self-hating because that's not what I'm feeling, but I just want to like be, I don't know. I want to be in my cocoon, you know, especially since October 7th. But look, I'm out there, obviously. I mean, I mean, you see me on Twitter, and I mean, the amount of hate that I've been trying to put something into the chat for you. I mean, someone made a meme about me. I don't know if you can get in, if I can put something in the chat. I don't think I
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
but
you,
it
you
was
can you can
just,
you can just share your screen.
I mean, this was just shocking.
Ugh,
Oh wow.
This was shocking.
wow.
Now, I'm okay. Like, look, the genocidal stuff is ridiculous, ridiculous. But I get why they're saying that because they're deluded. Islamophobic? What the hell? I mean, that just demonstrates how for these people it's a zero-sum game because just because I support Israel, that doesn't mean I'm Islamophobic. It's outrageous. I don't hate Muslims. I'm not afraid of Muslims. I don't hate Arabs. It's outrageous. Yet they can't see that. I only want the best for the people of Gaza, but they don't want the best for the people of Israel.
They don't want the
They
best for
can't.
people of Gaza as well, by the way.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, free Gaza from Hamas, if anything. But
But
that's what's just
so
so,
so
yeah.
then I don't think we can look to the masses because it's just absolutely frustrating and it makes absolutely no sense. I think we have to realize that the masses follow a the masses follow, why do companies spend billions of dollars advertising? Like, does Burger King or the McDonald's, if it was such a good product, do you need to spend billions of dollars, advertising it? So it's clear that there's part of what's going on now is fashion. Part of what's going, people have real emotions, meaning the real emotion is I'm frustrated, I'm fed up, and then they need to be told who to blame it on, right? And that's what they get from the news, and that's what they get through their social media is like, I have these feelings, define it for me, right? Because you take a youth with those feelings in a tribe. So now here's a spear, go get the lion, and then come back and you'll be part of the tribe. It'll take all of that energy and go use it. Now, after all these hundreds of thousands of years of human development, we take the kid and just sit him in a chair all day or don't give him any purpose in life. And he still has all of these emotions bubbling up in him and doesn't have anywhere to aim it. So, aim it towards the Jews.
Yeah.
We shouldn't, I don't think we should look at the masses. I mean, it's good to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on. But I think that the majority of our focus needs to be, can you believe that this crazy person said I'm a genocide? Because I also get death
Mm,
threats from time to time,
mhm.
for saying things in support of Israel. You know, um, for a million crazy people, they'll all say some crazy thing. But can we, who are the ones with all the Nobel Prizes, who are the ones who are the teachers, who are the ones who are, have all this influence. Can we figure out a way amongst ourselves? Because it is Jews behind a lot of putting this message out there into the world that everybody's following. Can we focus for the benefit of the masses? But when we go to work to do this work, not think that we need to be working with the masses, but can we work maybe amongst ourselves at first to disseminate some different message to the masses, to disseminate, to spread
Which is
and
what? What's the message?
of, I don't know, maybe love your neighbor as
Yeah.
yourself. Love,
Yeah.
maybe. The simplest tenet of what it means to be
We
a
used to
Jew.
be called the people of the book, right? Maybe we should
Still
be
are.
right, but
Yeah.
maybe we should tell them what's in the book. That it's a book about love. At the end of the day, it's not a historic document. It's not marching orders for a war. It's actually describing internal transformation. If you really get behind the words, that's what all our books are talking about. Believe it or not, they're not legal texts. They're not.
It's tricky because, most of the diaspora, I mean, when they identify as Jewish, they often identify as secular, which I don't think is a negative thing. Um, and so, Judaism and Jewishness for so many of us is an ethnicity, so that kind of complicates the messaging. I mean, it is absolutely an ethnicity for me. I mean, it's a religion as well, but I'm Jewish like someone's Puerto Rican or someone's, Dominican. I mean, it's my ethnic makeup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. That's a funny thing. It's not rooted
Mhm.
in actual ethnicity or geography or even
Well,
religion. It's
a
religion,
little, yeah,
a little
but
bit
it
of
is
everything,
but it is a little. I mean, look, until the last century, Jews married out of the faith at a rate of 0.5%.
right?
You take a DNA test, 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. I mean, anyone, it's really, intermarriage only started with our parents' generation. And so, we are ethnically a people, I believe. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I just think that Jewish identity is complicated.
You can
It's
say that again.
complicated. Yeah. And then it gets even more complicated. Like I remember this was crazy. Uh, I went to my cousin's house and his cousin on the other side. Okay. So it was a lesbian couple. Follow me. They're both in rabbinic school. They're both in rabbinic school. One of them is half Jewish, meaning she has a Jewish father. The other one is a quarter Jewish, has like a Jewish grandparent, and wound up coming to Judaism through a step parent. That starts getting, and the thing was, I mean, forgive me, please forgive me, but I'm looking at her and I'm
You
like,
are forgiven.
yeah, but I'm looking at her as she's singing like the Shabbat prayers, and I'm like, she's not like, she looked, again, now I'm, speaking probably out of turn because Jews don't look a certain way, but help me out here. Like Jewish Americans, we have a feel. And I'm looking at her like,
Uh,
what? Like this, how is she Jewish? Like she looks like the most Irish Catholic person I've ever seen. And I didn't know until after dinner when I asked my cousin, like, what's her story? So like we're becoming such a different type of people. We have converts, we have
Yeah,
intermarriages, we
but
have Jews of color.
yeah, but it's not
You know,
surprising at all. I mean, you have 10 missing tribes. Where are they?
right?
Where do you think they are? It's what
Africa.
At your holiday table, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah,
it,
exactly.
what Seth and I say is that all these definitions don't work, and they're all clashing,
Mhm.
unless you define Jews as having a Jewish person as having a certain desire, a certain deficiency towards something,
Mhm.
because that's the strongest thing that you can have is a deficiency
My
towards something.
cousin, I mean, let me another
Yeah.
example. My cousin married a non-Jew. She never converted. She is president of Temple Emmanuel of Beverly Hills. She is president, not him. She is president. And she texted me and said, come to Shabbat services this Friday.
See,
I mean, like,
you're just proving my point.
and she's the best president Temple Emmanuel of Beverly Hills will ever have.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So take all of that.
Yeah.
You're talking to a lot of people. You have a TV
Mhm.
show,
Yeah.
several.
Yeah.
What is the message that we're going to start putting out there? Let's rally the troops, because if
Well,
anything you can say is
I
that
have, yeah.
we haven't been united even in that search.
So I have a new show coming out, which I'm very excited about. It's a genealogy show. It's
Oh yeah,
called Generations.
I read
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
called
Yeah.
it's called Generations, and it's doing kind of a genealogy of Jewish celebrities. And if they have non-Jewish lines, great. And what I love about the show is um, it tells stories about human beings that happen to be Jewish. Like our first episode went through the Civil War. Not many Jews were in America during the Civil War, but there's a segment of this celebrity's family that did. You know, I guess what's the message? You guys got me thinking, so I'm trying to figure out what the message is. But I guess the message is that we just we want to be we want to be a part of the club. Let us in. Don't reject us. Let us in. We have a lot of love to give. We have a lot of insights to give.
Maybe
But
humanity
don't
wants to be in our club.
I wonder. Yeah, I wonder. But
Okay. So hold on.
exclusion.
So
Yeah,
for us, hold on. Okay, so this is great. For
please.
us to be in their club, but it means then to bring Leo, I'm thinking of like from the wisdom of Kabbalah, how like Bina comes down into Malchut and then raises Malchut up. So I'm thinking in terms of like for us to enter their club, but to enter their club and to bring to the world, like to be a light to the nations,
A
meaning
light, yeah,
like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
let's enter humanity with the thing that we have, which is not just about money and not just about power and not just about the other stuff, but we got this godly spark of light. Now, yes, we want to be part of your club and we have something to offer that's good for everyone. We want to bring
Essentially,
this light.
yeah,
We want to bring this
essentially,
love. We want to bring this connection to everyone.
all those years we're trying to get into the club by dressing up like everyone, right? That goes to that club by looking a certain way, talking a certain way. We're like remember that Woody Allen Zelig, right? The chameleon thing.
Hmm.
Like we're
Hmm.
trying to just blend in, blend in, blend in. Where maybe in fact this whole theater is calling us to actually remove all these layers and find the real thing for which we exist. We are people of ideology, Brad. We were not. That's why it's hard to define us. We're not an ethnicity, a religion, a geography. We're created around an ideal. That's what Abraham did. He's like, you guys are now, you're the Hebrews. You're the new. You're gonna
But
be
that
the
plays
new.
into this whole like concept of chosenness and people,
Yeah,
they
yeah. What
they,
if
they come
what
after
if this?
us for
Yeah, what if this whole
chosenness
thing
and
is somehow crazily correct? I mean, they did talk about Jews returning to Israel 2,000 years ago.
Brad's like,
I
yeah, I mean,
know.
look, that just
I've been
shows. I
running
mean,
my
you
whole
look at
life from this.
no,
Listen,
no, but no, but it's look, it demonstrates. Look, it's like I'm an abused, child. I mean, the fact that wince at that demonstrates
yeah.
how the abuse is internalized. Because what's wrong with being successful? What's wrong with touting one's accomplishments? I mean, we want to be humble. Humility is an appropriate trait. Um, I just, I have two
Think as
daughters in
long as we make it good
college.
for everyone
Yeah.
else, as long as it's not for us for some selfish reason, which we can't separate from that,
But
it's
we
like, don't
don't.
look at how much I have in the bank. Don't look at it. But if there's some way that it can be deflected off of us
But what
to
else can we
just
do? iPhones,
all the,
medicine. I
Yeah.
mean,
it's not
Nobel
what they want.
Prizes.
It's not what they want.
What do
Nanotechnology.
they?
It's
So
not
what do
what
they
they
want?
want.
So what
They
They
do they
want your
want?
want,
heart. They want your
yeah,
heart,
they
Brad.
want the love. Not just not Brad's heart
Yeah.
No,
necessarily,
no,
but
no,
like
no. I know.
through you, they want to be connected to the source of life. Everybody wants to be connected to something bigger than themselves, to something meaningful. And somehow we have no idea. We didn't do anything to deserve it at all. But for some reason, we are part of this network of
W-
humanity that is this ancestral heritage or whatever it is, going back to Sinai. I have no idea, why we would have, be in this role and not someone else, but
But someone
but
had to
I
do it. So,
they want from us meaning, purpose, love. There's everything on earth, Brad. There's money, there's technology, there's everything, but yet
we
half
can't
the
get
people are
along.
starving. The
We
other
can't get
half are in.
along. We
Yeah,
can't get along. That's what's missing.
they
If
need
the
us.
Jews show the world that we know how to get along, even though that we're made of so many different people, if we can do it in our own small group, we can teach the whole world how to do it.
I will. I will join your journey. I will join you on your journey, and I think we can, be a part of something. I just need you to continue to serve as my therapists. I will
No
serve
problem.
as yours.
No problem.
Um,
Consider it done.
and look, you're on to something. Look, I'm steeped in kind of, dissecting anti-Semitism, and I'm always about finding the reasons, but I have not thought about the solutions as much as you guys have, and I honor you for that. And I want to continue the conversation with you guys. Come to
Yes,
Los
please. This has
Angeles.
been amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because we do need solutions, and I just can't wait for the conflict to end because I think that's when the healing begins.
Agreed. Brad,
Yeah,
I put in the chat a little quote
yeah,
from you, which is about 100 years old, give or
uh-huh.
take.
Yeah,
Maybe you can read it to us out loud.
yeah.
I'll tell you who it's
Great.
from.
Yeah. Great is my belief that all this global uproar of a time of the shifting world in which we live in has come essentially only for Israel. We are now called upon to carry out a great task willingly and mindfully to build ourselves and the entire ruined world along with us. I mean, it's Tikkun Olam, essentially.
It's Rav Kook. It's Rav
Yeah,
Kook.
really.
Rav Kook, Chief Rabbi of
Mm,
Israel,
yeah,
1948.
yeah.
Yep. So, some wiser people wrote about it many, many years before us. So we're hopeful. We're
Yeah.
sitting on the shoulders of giants, and at the very least, like I said, I was, we were not wrong. This was an amazing opportunity to
Oh,
feel
please.
you,
Yeah.
and
I feel you, boys. I feel you. I feel you back.
Yeah, I feel the circle just got a little wider. This is
Exactly. I
wonderful.
put my email in the chat. Email me. Let's
Got
continue the
it. Thank you.
conversation.
Yeah.
And halavai.
Indeed, indeed. So I'm, with that, I will bid our viewers and listeners. Yes.
I'll turn off my camera.
Oh,
Ah, okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Oh, thank you, Brad. Thank you.
Big hug.
Amazing, amazing guest, Brad Pomerance. You can find him on JLTV and look out for his new show, Generations. And I'm just happy that we have met another beautiful human and someone that we can continue to on this journey with. Someone we can steer the world in the right direction.
At some point, we're going to hit a critical mass, and it's gonna overflow. Just this thoughts of this connection between us, these thoughts of spreading the love between us. At some point, it's already spreading through the network of the human minds and hearts. At some point, it's just going to pour over.
I totally agree, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why we're probably going to be having this job for a while, Seth. So please follow us, like us everywhere. The Jew Function. You can find the podcast on Spotify at the Jew Function. You can find us on X at the Jew Function. Instagram is now picking up at the Jew Function. It's all about the Jew Function. So we hope to see you here. We're going to have a live this coming Sunday. Well, this is recorded, but join us this Sunday, and we'll be here. Seth, take care.
Bye, everyone.